The forestry sector in Ghana contributes 1.6% to national gross domestic product, with wood exports being the fourth highest foreign exchange source for the country. Aside forestry playing a major role in the growth and development of the Ghanaian economy, it plays an important part in the maintenance of environmental quality.
The timber industry's contribution to the economy of Ghana comes in many forms. Now, it provides tremendous employment opportunities for many Ghanaians. 120,000 direct jobs is created by the timber industry. And 2 million people actually depend on the timber industry for their livelihoods.
The Ghana Forestry Commission is responsible for the regulation and utilization of forest and wildlife resources, the conservation and management of those resources, and the coordination of policies related to them.
The Commission has 3 main divisions to assist in achieving its objectives. The first is the Forest Service Division that manages and regulates the activities of both forest and outside forest reserves. We have the Wildlife Division that manages the nation's zoo and national park, and also regulate the trade in terms of export of wildlife resources. And then we have the Timber Industry Development Division that manages the export trade and also the development of the wood processing sectors.
Our sources of timber, Ghana now, are coming from gazetted forest reserves. That's the production side of forest reserve. We also have outside the forest reserve, the gazetted areas, we have also production coming from these areas. Then plantation forest areas are also key areas that actually contribute to timber production in the country. And last but not the least is a recent phenomenon, which is underwater harvesting.
In line with its new forest management policies, which includes development of a national forest estate and a timber industry that provides the full range of benefits required by society in a manner that is ecologically sustainable and that conserves the environmental and cultural heritage, Ghana, in 2009, signed up to the Voluntary Partnership Agreement, Vpa, a legally binding agreement between the European Union, EU, and individual timber exporting countries.
The VPA is about enabling the processes of stakeholder participation in the policy-making process. The ultimate aim there, as far as the agreement is concerned, is to see the export of timber that is accompanied by legality licenses or FLEG licenses.
The VPAs are meant to act as a practical mechanism for identifying and excluding illegal timber from the EU market.
If you look at our deforestation rate, we did an intervention to stem the tide, and for which reason the VPA came in for almost impetus to push forward. And one of the things which has happened is coming up with a new business process.
Under the scheme, timber that is legally harvested and exported to the EU would be identified by means of licenses issued in signatory countries. The Forest Law Enforcement, Governance and Trade (FLEGT's) action plan under the VPA sets out a range of measures available to the EU and its member states to tackle illegal logging in the world's forests. Prior to signing up to the VPA, Ghana was experiencing a number of challenges with maintenance of its forest and wildlife resources, one of which was the fast rate of deforestation.
Many factors can be attributed to this phenomenon, including illegal logging.
These challenges facing the forest and wildlife resources are being controlled through Ghana's effective forest management policies, which are being consistently reviewed.
We have a 40-year felling cycle system that is being used. In other words, if you harvest a place, you come back to the same place in 40 years.
We are also bringing in what we call wood tracking system. It is a way of tracking the wood that is exported from Ghana into the European market, such that you can track that wood product to where it is coming from in Ghana. And we call that traceability.
Traceability is very important for us to be able to prove to our customers, to the bigger end users, exactly where the materials have come from. We have to be able to trace it back to the compartment in the forestry concession. We have to be able to prove that we have done everything in our power to make sure that we have done everything to keep illegal logging and illegal timber coming into the supply chain.
Given the fact that we're a very, very tiny island and do not have our own forests, you can imagine that for us, making sure that where the wood comes from is well protected, well taken care of. It's a resource we don't have ourselves, so the fact that we have to depend on others to make use of that resource is something. Taking care of that is a very important aspect, and I think although it is important to educate the consumer as is educating the trader, that legally harvested timber is the future, is the way to go.
But to start the harvesting, there is the need, or we normally undertake 100% enumeration of a compartment or a coop.
Aside from the protections of forest and wildlife resources, systems have been put in place to weed out illegal logging. These include the numbering of tree stocks within a forest reserve and demarcation of this stock into compartments.
We have 264. It means that during numbering, this tree was 2,640th tree that was enumerated by the team, and the compartment in question in this case was compartment 11.
The VPA has also enabled Garner to develop a credible legality assurance system, LAS, which covers all aspects of forest governance.
Again, we are guided by minimum get limits. In other words, you don't take the young ones. We have a minimum get limit beyond which we don't go during the selection of the yield. And what is very important is that ecologically sensitive areas are taken care of, like rivers, streams, hills, cultural sites. All these are taken care of when we are actually undertaking our selection of trees for harvesting.
The forest will be maintained as a habitat for the wildlife. If you take even the rules of logging and forest management, they are protected areas within the forest reserve. VPA is going to make sure that timber is sourced from legal source. All these harvesting areas which are supposed to be sacred or protected, like the hill sanctuary, swampy areas, all will be respected.
Even though the key aim of the VPA is to put in place a licensing system to prove that the timber exported from Ghana is legal, the objectives go beyond this, offering a package of assistance through the EU to support the improvement of forest governance and provide a wider benefit for the local communities and indigenous people.
Civil society organizations, particularly NGOs, were also given resources to go back to communities to consult, and we engaged with communities. And my organization, for instance, went to the Volta region. We engaged with several stakeholders. We went to Nkarie Forest District, and this is just an example as other civil society organizations engaged with stakeholders in other parts of the country.
The VPA process involves the different forest stakeholders affected by logging operations, including representatives of the private sector and civil society. As VPAs are bilateral agreements, they are negotiated between an individual country and the European Union. The establishment of the various elements included in the VPA also foster several in-country processes and discussions between and among the stakeholders in the partner country.
And so if you construct the market, you create a disincentive to harvest timber illegally. And that, the flip side is that it enables us to manage our timber resources in a better manner.
One of the things which has happened is coming up with a new business process for doing things. And if you look at the whole process, it really created awareness, because the fact that we cannot ship illegal timber to the EU market, and with the US and other markets also adopting, has given us a new thinking, and then has changed the way that we do things. And to me, the new business process that we find ourselves in is going to help us with sustainable forest management.
VPA processes in Ghana are overseen by the Ghana Forestry Commission. To date, the Forestry Commission has implemented policies and processes to ensure the protection of forest and wildlife resources.
From the forest through to the roads where there are checkpoints, through to the mill where the logs are received, through to processing where the logs are processed, material stacked, material packaged for either export or for production to other further processed products for export. And throughout this process, there will be labeling of material from the forest through, and there will be checks on the road at various points. There will be random checkpoints on the road also, where you have mobile teams checking material along the being transported.
At the mills, the timber received is colour-coded. Timber from controlled areas are blue colour-coded, whilst timber from other sources are colour-coded pink. Other inspection processes include remeasuring of logs received to ensure that they tally with that recorded on the pre-delivery inspection report, monitoring and reporting on the inputs and output volumes of timber used per processing cycle, and checks on timber that is stockpiled at the mills.
The TIDD has sort of an additional responsibility of issuing the export licenses. If it's going to the EU, if the parcel is going to the EU, we issue the FLECT license. But then to any other market, we issue the export license. So we will have to conduct two activities during our export procedures. We have to look at the routine standards that have been in existence since timber trading in Ghana. And we have 4 groups of check. We have to look at the product specification. We have to look at the contract, and then try to also capture information for the Bank of Ghana on the export form 4A. We also have to look at our international agreements as to phytosanitary certificate, CITES, and then certificate of origin. And then also we have to vet the contracts to approve all the prices that will have to go to be accepted in the Ghanaian trading system.
The EU market is keen to have on board more timber-producing countries signing up to the VPA agreement, as their local consumers are becoming more aware of the impact of illegal timber on the world's forests and environment.
Ghana's been working very hard for many years, so it's really nice today to come and see that progress is being made, systems are moving forward, and some of the difficult issues have been addressed. I think the next year is critical. I really hope that you can resolve the remaining issues, and that the field testing of the TLAS system works well. And then hopefully in a year's time there'll be some FLEGT licenses.
Major timber processors in Europe have joined the campaign to prevent illegal timber coming into the EU market.
It's a very important part of the business to our company and to the companies that I've been trading with before. And the sustainability of the timbers, which are very, very important. I think you will find from most importers that you will speak to, that is our ethos. We must be down the road of sustainability. We need the openness, the frankness with the mills in Ghana.
The government of Ghana is serious about ensuring sustainable forests resources.
We are working closely with our development partners to ensure that all the timelines and the benchmarks for the realization of the voluntary partnership agreement are complied with.
More so, the VPA has helped Garner to continue to improve on the National Plantation Development Project that seeks to expand the forest resource base by replanting degraded forests and establishing new ones through involving the communities at large in the plantation efforts to complement the efforts of the Forestry Commission. With all processes in place to ensure legal and traceable timber for both local and international usage, Garner has launched its seal to start issuing legality license for its timber products. The Ghana FLEGT license earned its credibility even before it was launched, when Ghana became one of the first timber-producing countries to sign up to the VPA. This is an unquestionable evidence of its willingness to improve its forest management policies and governance regimes. Aside from that, many policies have been adopted since its first act in 1948 to date, all aimed to ensure a sustainable forest resource base.
It's really created awareness, because the fact that we cannot ship illegal timber to the EU market, which the US and other markets also adopting, has given us a new thinking, and then has changed the way that we do things. And to me, the new business process that we find ourselves in is going to help us with sustainable forest management.
In fact, if you went back 10 years, close to 60–70% of our exports was to the EU market. So for us, maintaining the market was a key issue. And therefore, one of the benefits that will accrue to the industry is this issue of the Vpa process.
It is going to curb illegal logging. That means that it is going to plug the loopholes by which the government of Ghana, for that matter, Forestry Commission, loses some form of income.
We were losing a lot of our trees to illegal operators, and we ourselves couldn't control them because currently they are even armed. You can't even sack them from the forest. So if this law or process is going to make it impossible for the illegal operators to sell on the local market, then we have the assurance somehow that our resource will be protected to the extent that we can benefit largely from it.
These systems and policies implemented by Garner to eliminate illegal timber from the timber market and to offer a sustained forest and wildlife resource are evident and transparent.
For civil society, the major expectation is that the legislative reforms will go very far, rationalizing laws that are not implementable or laws that are inimical to sustainable forest management in Ghana.
We hope that the experiences that we will learn from the export trade under this VPA agreement will help us also to sanitize the domestic market situation, as well as adopt strategies to use the same processes to export to Asia as well as the United States of America.
The VPA for Ghana is one of the means to enable it to improve its forest management policies. Furthermore, the government sees the VPA as a means to support its sector reform program and particularly to strengthen its regulatory capacity in order to reduce the revenue loss and environmental degradation that results from illegal logging. With the VPA, Garner also intends to promote investment in the forest sector to ensure future viability of the timber product industry.